Hi guys and welcome back. So today I'm kind of actually excited to show you this little piece of drone component, or whatever you want to call it, stack. So this is a 2-stack. It's from DALRC. I mean, there's nothing crazy about it except its price and hopefully its performance or its test results from the noise testing here in the lab or here on the bench or whatever you want to call it. Now, you know, it's only $57, and what they give you is basically 3 main components: 4-in-1 ESC, F3 flight controller with the VTX built in a nice little package with no OSD. Keep that into consideration. I've had to redo this video around 3 times because I was too excited when I was speaking and I was just getting stuck in loops. And we'll get into that later on. So let's just quickly take a look at the parts right here. Now this is obviously a 4-in-1 ESC if you didn't know, and it is rated for 20 amps and 40 amp current. So that's pretty good in that perspective. It is Xt60, so it's not BLHeli32, it's just BLHeli-S. So yeah, if you're looking for that, it's not that. And don't forget, you're only paying $57 for this stack right here. Now they do also provide you with a low ASR capacitor, which is Rubicon, and they also provide you with 2 holes for easy installation of the low ESR without getting in the way of anything and without making it more difficult on you if you needed it. And I highly recommend you add it. I'm not saying it's testing bad, but I'm just saying whenever you get the chance, if you can, always add a low ASR capacitor. It's very good for all your overall components, and it'll keep the longevity of your components in good shape. All right, so as you can see here, it's pretty simple. You have your battery in the back, you have motor 1, 2, 3, 4. This takes a 2 to a 4S LiPo. Try not to exceed it, and that's really it. I mean, the way to connect this to the flight controller is not via pins, it's by just a connector. You put this through, and through this connector, you would actually even power off the VTX and the flight controller and have signal to all your ESC, so you don't have to solder a bunch of things. All you have to do here is just put your battery and your motors, and then everything else has power. What would left to be done here is actually just adding your camera and your receiver, and you're done. So it's very nice, very compact, and it should go for a very easy installation, and the price is very budget friendly. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at the flight controller here. So as you can see here, you have this big shielding, and this is obviously a VTX, and this is the F3 flight controller with the VTX built in. So, I mean, it can be scary, it cannot be scary, so that's why we're here. We're going to test on the bench testing, and then later on, we're going to do the real world testing. So this, in the previous, I've had a previous quad that had this kind of thing going on for it, which was the awesome F200 Pro Edition. And that one just is beautiful. I have no complaints. So I did have high hopes for this, but the price point of $57, it's just, you don't know what you're going to get really. And that's why I really wanted to get it and test it. So let's go ahead and see some of its UARTs, some of its specs here, and see what else we can do. So obviously, like I said, it's an F3 flight controller with a VTX built in. This is a 40-channel transmitter, and it has 0, 25, 200, and 400 milliwatt output power. And you do have a nice LED here, and here's your buttons to switch over the channels. Now, you cannot control this to the Betaflight OSD, and this board does not have OSD. So keep that in mind. This does not have OSD. So let's go ahead and take a look here. So here they provide us with 2 UARTs, and it's pretty, self-explanatory. They tell you UART 1, UART 2. I can't see them here on camera, but yeah, you get what I'm saying. Here, this port would be for camera. They do provide you with all the wires you need. And as you can see here, cam VCC 5-volt ground. So why do they do that? Well, obviously here, the yellow line of your camera would go right here. All right, and then you have VCC and 5-volt. Now, if you wanted to power off your camera from the raw battery voltage, you would stick the positive to the VCC. If you wanted to power off the 5-volt regulator, you would stick it to 5-volt. I highly recommend you stick to the 5-volt regulator because it proved to be clean. And you got your ground up top. So that's simple. I mean, there's nothing very difficult in that. Here, this is the part where your ESC would connect to the flight controller and give it power, as well as be able to control the ESCs, signals for the ESCs. So that's pretty simple and basic. And here they even provide you with a PWM. If you had a PWM receiver, you could go ahead and do that. And possibly you can access PPM from one of these. I don't know yet. I have not tested. But if you're still running PPM, I think you'll be able to use PPM up here. As you can see here, we have buzzer, so that's nice. And here we have the LED strip signal. So you got your ground, 5-volt, and the signal for the LED for the RGB LEDs. Ignore this. This was from me from my testing. I just left it there. And yeah, and this is an SMA port. It's not an RP SMA, so take that into consideration also. What else do we have here? Here, I believe if you wanted to add some kind of GPS, you go ahead and do that. And here we have a boot, and boot, just, you know, you bridge these two to actually get into the bootloader mode if you break it or anything. And well, I mean, that's really it. I mean, you got your LCD here to know what channel and what band and what's your output power going here. I mean, overall, it seems like very good, very clean. I mean, I have no complaints about it. The price is very budget friendly, but now, you know, it's a moment of truth where we stick it on the bench and go ahead and test this. Hopefully it's good, because if it's good, this is, you know, this is going to start opening up some doors, you know. And I really like, you know, DALRC, the way they just came into the market. But, you know, right now, just let's all talk until we stick it on the bench, and let's get started. Alright guys, so how did this pair do here? I must say I didn't expect this. It's actually doing very, very well here on the bench testing. Absolutely beautiful, to be honest. The worst, I showed you the worst results, but it was averaging, one second. It was averaging around 18 volts for voltage spike, 18.5 volts for voltage spike, and around 14.1 volts for voltage drop. We'll just say 14 volts for voltage drop. So it's really nothing. I mean, this is beautiful. It's within like 2 volt range. And there wasn't any weird long range spikes, and as well as we didn't have that high frequency noise where it's just like a bunch of lines doing this, because that's what really just, you know, leaks through the regulators here and just really affects things. However, yeah, like I said, this does not, well, yeah, this actually does have a regulator inside the VTX, and it's not gonna have any issues. As you saw in the FPV footage, now don't forget, we're only running one motor right now. When you put 4 motors, it's gonna be a little bit different story. But from that one motor, I can tell that this one was going to be pretty good. And don't forget, I didn't even use the low ESR capacitor. The FPV footage was absolutely beautiful, absolutely clean. I'll leave a link to DYS F4 and show you how that video footage was when I did the same exact test. That was a DYS F4 combo. So you could kind of get an idea of how much of a difference there is between this $57 one and that right now is still going for $100, which I never got to work, and the ESCs just never worked from the beginning. And I've had many people even complain to me about those issues. So it's not just me out there with the DYS F4. So for $57, this is an absolute bargain as of right now. Bench testing, I have no idea in the real world testing just yet. I will be sticking it on a build very soon, possibly the video right after this. We'll go ahead and build a budget quad with this, possibly the 6-inch, or yeah, I don't know. We'll see what we're gonna do with this. We're gonna be building some kind of budget quad with this, and this should perform. I really do believe this should perform. And yeah, overall the bench testing, I mean, it never failed me before. It was good. It was very good. I mean, you see it for yourself, you decide for yourself. All the data's there in front of you. The FPV footage while I was running this is all recorded. I recorded it on a Fat Shark if you're curious, and the motor I'm using is the Emax 2205S. I found those to be very noisy. And overall, I mean, it beat my expectations, to be honest. I would literally give it a 9 out of 10. It would have gotten a 10 out of 10 for 2 more points here if these were 30 amp, but they have a 40 amp burst, so you should be good for like 20 seconds. So that's good in that perspective. But if they were rated higher at a constant current of 30 amps, I would have loved that. And if they had OSD, it would have been almost the ultimate stack ever. And don't forget, yeah, it's an F3 flight controller, so if it was like an F4, no, that'll increase the price by a lot. But $57 so far, bench testing is telling me it's not a bad purchase at all. I'm actually very excited to build this and to check this out. And well, that's it, guys. So that's concluded for this video. I really hope you guys learned something. I really hope you guys enjoyed it. I really hope you guys even just got some info and helped you out there make the right choice. If you guys have any questions or any suggestions, feel free to let me know, and I will see you next time.